Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat for Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go to Kentucky Speedway in both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. But first we have a little bit of news. There is the headline, "Oh, I'm not happy." I said after Daniel Hemric won last episode in Daytona. I said basically the 8 is a wasted playoff spot. A win shouldn't lock you into playoffs. I wasn't very happy about him just being locked in when he's in the mid-20s in points. But Daniel Hemric actually decided that he would take a little bit of a shot back, saying Gary should keep his mouth shut or I'll do it for him. We'll see who does better come playoff time. So a little bit of a rivalry brewing between myself and Daniel Hemric. And Tyler Reddick also wasn't very happy with that. We don't have a quote from him, but we know we're going to have to maybe watch out for them on track here today in Kentucky. But first, obviously, we have the Xfinity Series race where we had subscriber James Murray in the car here. Started in a pretty good position. We obviously haven't had the greatest season, still getting our team built up here in the Xfinity Series, but I think we've gotten to the point now where we have a very capable team of running well. Obviously, some tracks we still struggle at quite a bit. You've seen that recently. The Xfinity Series has such a variety of racetracks, and it's certainly a lot better, I think, than the schedule in the Cup Series, and certainly would like to get a better Cup schedule down the line. And obviously, we're going to get it quite changed up in the 2020 DLC when that releases. Obviously, we'll have a career mode in the 2020 DLC where we just transition into that one still in the Cup Series. But James Murray actually would come through to finish in the top 10 for us here, just in front of Christopher Bell in the 20 car, as he had finished P5. So our first ever top 5 with our team from James Murray. So great result for him as we came to qualifying in the Cup Series for myself, coming through to cross the line of 31.111, and unfortunately we go down in P20. So not a good qualifying effort at all for us, and we're definitely going to have our work cut out for us today. And surprise, surprise, Kyle Busch is on the pole.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series is at Kentucky Speedway for the Quaker State 400. Kentucky's a daunting mile-and-a-half asphalt trioval that will challenge even the most skilled drivers. NASCAR racing from the Bluegrass State is coming up next.
All right, thank you, Rick Allen. We're ready to go green here with the Quaker State 400 at Kentucky Speedway. BJ McLeod just doesn't look like himself. He's slower than normal, so you might see him running in the mid-30s, which is kind of normal, actually. But Bubba Wallace, he crashed during qualifying. He's starting at the back, and Kyle Busch is starting on the pole as we get ready, though, here to go green at Kentucky Speedway. From now actually advancing one position, because I guess Bubba Wallace out-qualified us here in Kentucky. That was a green flag is up from the 19th starting position. Kyle Busch leads away. Kyle Busch obviously has 7 wins already this season in our career mode. He's practically already a Final Four lock, if you ask me. I don't think there's going to be any contest for him in the playoffs now, as he can pretty much have any type of playoff he wants and probably still make it into Miami. He could probably crash for 70% of the races and still make it to the Final Four as we go down this back straightaway on the inside of the 11 of Denny Hamlin behind Ricky Stenhouse Jr. There you see Jimmy Johnson, the 7-time champion, as we took them 4 wide. He was on the far outside. Jimmy Johnson in the battle for one of the final playoff spots. Obviously, last episode with Daniel Hemric winning, this really shook up the playoff picture, and Jimmy Johnson is now in a bit of a situation where he's going to have to race against his teammate of William Byron, the young driver, to try and make it into the playoffs here of the grid of 16 drivers as we exit turn 2 heading down this back straightaway. I still think that 704 has Jimmy Johnson not running as good as he should be. Now he's come through, though, out of turn 4 at this point in lap 3. We've climbed up to P11 at this point, getting a little bit sideways on the exit of turn 4, trying to side draft the 3, but unfortunately, as these laps went on, we had started to follow down the order. We came to 3 on lap 6, and you see me down at P13 now, giving Ryan Newman a little bit of a shove down the straightaways. Hamlin and myself and Stenhouse for 3 wide as we go down into turns 1. Hamlin gets in front of us, and we just continue to fall, but we would kind of settle out around P13 or so, battling with Ty Dillon later in the stages. Not really much happened here in stage 1, but there you see on the track map, it was actually Ryan Blaney who was leading at this point. He's been in some conversation of potentially getting booted out of that car at the end of this season, but certainly not confirmed yet. There's some rumors going on here around in our career mode of where could I be going next season. Am I going to be in the 41? We don't know yet, but certainly stay tuned as contract talks are starting to heat up. There's the 42 of Kyle Larson is another potential candidate. There's we made a mistake at a turn 2. This is now on the final lap of the stage. I was actually in tire conservation mode at this time because my tires had worn way too much, especially on the right rears. We went down through turns 3 though, and turns 4 for the final time in stage 1. So it's not going to be stage points for us here in stage 1, but unfortunate, we did gain positions at least from our starting position as we cross the line to go P14 just behind our teammate of Eric Almirola, who does have 1 win on the season at Sonoma. But Ryan Blaney gets a stage victory. So he's trying to prove himself to stay in that car. As the right rear tire was down to 2%, but as I was saying, Kyle Larson is kind of being rumored that he might want to spend some time more in the dirt stuff, World of Outlaws next season in our career mode. So there is a potential chance that Kyle Larson won't be returning next season in our career mode, and obviously you can kind of guess that I would be his replacement. Obviously not confirmed yet. We still got to see what Larson's plans are, as our names being kind of thrown out there in the NASCAR community world of these teams in this career mode of where we're going to go. Obviously still not confirmed. We might be in the 41 still next season. It depends kind of what Gene Haas wants to do now as we start the second stage, though, down into turns 1 on the inside of the 4, or on the outside of the 4 of Kevin Harvick, our teammate, obviously the one-time Cup Series champion, as we go down this back straightaway behind the 2 of Brad Keselowski. On my left rear, we had the 31 of Tyler Reddick, an RCR car who I wasn't very pleased with in Daytona last episode on that final lap, as we go through way up the track, actually through turns 3 and turns 4, and we actually briefly tagged the wall on the exit of the corner, and we fall like a rock on this first and opening lap of the second stage, all the way down to P18, P19, and all the way just about down to 20th, nearly as we go 3 wide there with Ty Dillon and the 96 of Parker Kligerman. So continuing to fall down the order there now as we went down this back straightaway. So thankfully, though, we would start to claw our way back forward as came to lap 9 of 17 and stage behind Daniel Hemric, our good friend from last episode in Daytona. Obviously, we made a comment about him being locked into the playoffs when he's, what, 24th, 25th, somewhere there in points, and 1 win locked him in, which I certainly don't agree with how that works. Now, as we go up his inside down into turns 1 and at turns 2, we kind of expect things to get a little bit heated here. We slide up in front of Hemric, but he's going to try and battle back because he's going to fight up the inside on the exit of turn 2. He's not going down without a fight, but I'm not going down either as we go down this back straightaway side by side with the 8 of Hemric down into turn 3. We're going to slide back up the inside of Daniel Hemric as we come through the center of the corner, and we're going to make contact on the exit of turns 4 as we head down this front straightaway. A little bit of door banging with the 8 of Hemric, but thankfully we would have the speed to get away from him here on lap 11 of 17 in the stage. Down in P15 there still, unfortunately, as we go down into turns 1, but we would drive away from Daniel Hemric, run down his RCR teammate of Tyler Reddick eventually as we went down here now on lap 13. We'd continue to reel him in. On lap 14, we'd gotten to his inside down this back straightaway as he would try to fight back, though, on that outside lane. He's not going to go down without a fight either, but we just had a lot of speed on this longer run. Ryan Blaney had continued at this point to lead the way towards the end of stage 2 as we came through, clearing the 31 of Tyler Reddick and setting our sights now on Brad Keselowski. We came to 2 to go on the stage, right on that right rear of Brad Keselowski, but now Joey Logano had taken the lead within these final few laps of the stage. We're still right on that right side of the NASCAR Cup Series champion from 2012 there as we go down into turn 3, giving Keselowski the space he needs down through the center of the corners. Joey Logano, though, starts the final lap here in stage 2 as Blaney has fallen late in the second stage from that lead position as we're side by side with Keselowski. Once again, though, no stage points are going to be awarded for us here as we start this final lap side by side with the 2 car. As we go down into turns 1, who's going to come back for P13 as we come through the center of the corner side by side, just trying to make sure we don't get into him there as we nearly make contact on the exit of turn 2. He's like a little bit sideways down this back straightaway now, right on his right rear as I tried to get to the side draft chance, but I just couldn't quite make it happen, though. But we back up the corner and we actually get a great center of the corner and a great exit. We look to the inside now of Brad Keselowski as we exit turns 4, and we are in front of him as a caution would come out and end the stage here in Kentucky. So we get through to barely pass Keselowski for P13 as we would obviously come to the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel and 4 tires to get ready to start the third and final stage here in Kentucky. So I would make a slight wedge adjustment to make it a little bit looser and hope for the best here in stage 3. We would gain 1 position on the pit lane and get ready to go green from P12 on the outside of Kurt Busch and his Ganassi teammate of Kyle Larson on the road just in front of us now as we are underway for the third and final stage here in Kentucky. Joey Logano leads away. Kyle Busch obviously up there in the mix. I think Kyle Busch has gone 1 or 2 races now without a victory in this season. That's quite a bit for him now as we go down into turns 1. Tyler Reddick behind us in the 31, trying to put on a little bit of pressure there as we're going to actually jump up to this third lane and get to the outside of the 42 of Kyle Larson in that Clover scheme. I love that paint scheme so much, and if we end up getting a ride in that 42 car next season, that will definitely be our primary paint scheme as we go down through turns 3 on the outside of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets to my left side. These short runs just haven't seemed to play into my favor, especially here in Kentucky. We've gotten a little bit better, I think, at short run racing, this season, but here tonight in Kentucky, it certainly hasn't been our strong suit. Now as we go down into turns 1 on that right-hand side of the 17 of Stenhouse, but he would get clear through the center of the corner, and we would fall down another position, unfortunately, as we had the 38 of David Reagan also putting on some pressure, but thankfully we would be able to hold him off as we went down, diving up the inside into turn 3. All the way up front, it was Blaney and Logano continuing to battle for the lead. As we would get in this mix here, is a little bit of a big group race here going on right in front of us, and that would actually allow me to gain some positions. We would get up to P10 as we came through now on lap 46. A little bit of contact with the 20 of Erik Jones had happened there. We would climb up to P10, passing Keselowski, and then unfortunately we had started to fade again. On lap 48, you can see some drivers up in front of us driving away. We had dropped down to P11. Logano still leading the way with pressure from Blaney, then Jones. He would drive by me, and we would fade in P12 just behind him as we came to lap 52, giving Jones a little bit of a shot to the bumper there as I had a huge run. As we go down into turns 1 sideways, the 20 goes as we nearly clean him out again, as that was an incredibly close call there with the 20 of Erik Jones. I could not believe we avoided him there, as you probably couldn't even put a sheet of paper between himself and I. It was so close now, as thankfully we keep it going, and we would get past the 42 of Kyle Larson, climb back up to P11, but it certainly felt bad. It was all on it was 100% my fault what happened with Jones, but we came to lap 56, and I decided to make a strategy call, actually, because we only had a handful of laps of fuel in the car. I decided to short pit here, because like I said, we got 2 wins this season. We can take some risks, and I decided to go with a 2-tire stop, and I actually paused my game, and once I came out of the pause, it actually decided it reset my little changes I made and gave me 4 tires instead, and I didn't catch that in the time. Obviously, I didn't notice that before I came into the pit box, so obviously, do not pause your game, I guess, when you're on the pit lane, but I figured out that's what caused it, at least. Unfortunately, that would end up causing a caution as well. Comes out here with 11 laps to go, and we were trapped a lap down, so everything just went downhill. All of a sudden there, as like I said, I paused my game, it reset my pit thing to give me 4 tires instead of 2. We got trapped a lap down on the right side. We did get the free pass, but we would be starting down in P38 now as Jimmy Johnson's right in front of us. That is not good news at all for Jimmy Johnson, who is now fighting for that last spot in the playoffs, and this is not going to be a good chance for him at all now as we get back going here. At this point, only 7 laps to go. Brian Blaney was leading the way, so obviously we're down in P38. There's no chance we're going to get a top 10. You would at least think that, but obviously we have 4 fresh tires. The AI, they don't have 4 fresh tires. We were slicing through the field here as we came to on lap 62 up the inside of our teammate Clint Boyer, who's just run subpar all season. He did the same thing last season in our career mode. He's just good enough to barely get in the playoffs. And as we came through now on lap 64 of the inside of the 9 of Elliott, there's you see the 13 of Ty Dillon. He goes spinning through turns 3 and turns 4, and that is going to bring out a caution as Matt Tifft is involved as well. Now as the caution is out in Kentucky, this will force NASCAR overtime as we had climbed all the way up to P15 as we get ready to go for overtime. We haven't been in the top 10 really at all this race, maybe for like 30 seconds, and all of a sudden we have a big tire advantage as overtime is underway. Ryan Blaney looking for win number 1 on the season as it is 2 laps to go, and there's our good old buddy of the 8 of Daniel Hemric as we go down into turns 1 of the inside, making it 3 wide with him and Brad Keselowski as we come through the center of the corner. Can Ryan Blaney hold on for win number 1 of the season, exiting turn 2, a little bit of contact with our teammate of Eric Almirola as we're side by side down this back straightaway. A lap and a half remains as there you see Kyle Larson all the way at the top. He needs every point he can get. He is like 20 points out of the playoffs, and then Ryan Blaney has lost the lead going to the top. Logano leads over second place of Ryan Preece, who won the Daytona 500 last season in our career mode, as he looks to be a surprise winner for 2 races in a row as we go down into turns 1 on this final lap here in Kentucky. 3 wide with myself, Bowman, and Kevin Harvick as we exit turn 2 right on that right rear sideways as we hang on to as they go 3 wide in front of us between Reddick, Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. Now as we're going to slice to the inside of Kevin Harvick as we go down into turns 3 and turns 4. Preece up top. Logano leads the way over second place, who now belongs once again to Ryan Blaney as we're going to come through out of turn 4 side by side with our teammate Kevin Harvick down to the line. Joey Logano wins in Kentucky as we cross the line to go P9 just behind our teammate of Kevin Harvick. A great result, I kind of felt, for considering how we ran most of this race. So I cannot believe that we got a top 10 out of that one. Certainly felt bad what happened with Erik Jones. I still don't know how on earth I missed him, but thankfully we did. Still second in the points after that one, as I said after the race. Great comeback for us today. Sorry to the 20 car for what happened earlier in the race. Or earlier in stage 3 that was. Now, as Daniel Hemric, I guess he's not very happy with us. I actually provoked him, and then Tyler Reddick, he sends something too, and I provoke him as well, as we're not getting along with the RCR drivers right now. So certainly something brewing there with that team. Certainly safe to say we won't be driving for that team next season. I don't think now. As always, though, if you guys did enjoy this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. In the next one, we go to New Hampshire, where last season we destroyed everybody. We didn't even need any adjustments on the car. I ran like preset 6 or 7 maybe, and just drove away after Denny Hamlin had his issues. So we'll see how that goes. Jimmy Johnson, 20 points out. Larson, 36. They got some work to do, and we're going to see what happens in the next one in New Hampshire. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.